Right, moving on to the final speaker on this session, Johan Odendaal, Managing Director, Southern Palladium Limited. Introducing Johan. Johan Odendaal is a mineral economist and holds a BSc degree in geology, a BSc honors degree in mineral economics, and an MSc degree in mining engineering. Johan is a director and co-founder of mining consulting firm, Minxcon, and has 36 years experience in the mining and financial industry. This includes 19 years as an independent mining consultant and 12 years as a financial analyst involved in mine financial analysis and valuations and corporate advisory. He headed mining research at a leading South African broking firm and spent several years at Merrill Lynch as vice president. Mr. Odendaal is currently the chief executive officer of Miracle Upon Miracle and managing director of Southern Palladium. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our final speaker to the podium, Mr. Johan Odendaal.
Thank you, Veronica. It's nice to be back here again after a year. Last year, we were standing here, just started drilling, and I'm pleased to stand here today and take you through our project, the Bingwenyama project. To our fellow South Africans here, it's nice to hear the stories, the positive ones. Mzila, also taking the helm of the Minerals Council, wish you all the best. And also our officials from government. And of course, our friends in Australia. When we looked for finance, we looked to Australia for that, and we got it last year. And I'm proud to say that, we've certainly progressed very well with this project. The Bingwenyama project is situated on the eastern limb and nestled among the world's biggest platinum producers. If we look at the corporate structure at the moment, very much the same as where we started. The community, Bingwenyama community, has 30% in this project and also direct 9.3% stake in Southern Palladium. And of course, in turn, Southern Palladium have a 70% stake in Miracle Upon Miracle, which is the mineral lease holder. And of course, the project not only have 3 or 4 PGMs, but also all 6, and that includes platinum, palladium, rhodium, ruthenium, iridium, osmium, plus gold, nickel, copper, and chrome. And those byproducts certainly add quite a significant sweetener to the revenue streams of the PGM producers in South Africa. Also, just want to highlight that they currently initially raised 19 million Australian dollar and currently sit with a cash balance of 11.5 million. So still a significant amount and in quite a comfortable position to finish what we said we're going to do. As mentioned earlier, we're sitting there on the eastern limb of a bushveld complex. The bushveld complex right there in the northeast of South Africa, and the focus has now shifted to this area, and you can see all the big producers are in that area. And those are the likes of Impala Platinum, Anglo-American, ARM, Northam. All those companies are multi-asset platinum producers in South Africa with a significant market capitalization. And they are our neighbors to the north and also neighbors to the south. We're currently sitting with a market capitalization of 25 million Australian dollars and a resource in the order of 25 million ounces in 7E and a total resource quoted here of 21 million ounces, just to compare the producers in terms of 4E. So you can see that we now ranking up there in terms of ounces with the likes of Impala Platinum's Marula mine and Marula currently at 200,000 ounces per annum producer. In terms of infrastructure, we heard it from the previous speakers, and again, I can't emphasize enough that the infrastructure in South Africa is there. Our project is sitting right there. You can see the boundary of the Bengonyama project, of course, down dipping from here to the west. But there's a water pipeline running just past our project, so we're drawing water from there, and also water in future for our operations. Not too far from us is the big Semanko Tubatsi smelter, and further south, Glencore's Lion smelter. Of course, these smelters get the chrome from the chrome mines to a lot, the bulk of it. But the platinum producers, because we mine the Marinsky and the UG2, UG2 is a chromatite reef, and there's quite significant chrome that's been produced from the UG2 that can go to those smelters just literally across the road from us, or otherwise there's a railway station that takes chrome export through Mozambique to the export market. Also, energy and electric substation not too far from us, and mine rescue services. So all in all, literally on our doorstep. No need to put in any additional infrastructure. And absolutely, if we also look at the downstream beneficiation, that all the mines in this area produce a platinum concentrate, and we've got a very well-established beneficiation downstream. All the smelters are in Rustenburg, and so concentrates are produced on the east, unloaded on a truck, and delivered that same morning in Rustenburg. So everything is there. The reef itself, as you can see, all the majors are there. The reef, both from a mining and also processing, is well understood. The terms in terms of offtake is well understood, and it ticks all the boxes. So in size again, and this basically distinguishes what we call the central area of that eastern limb with the area further south. And the dark blue is basically the UG2 resource against the grade, and the lighter blue, the Marinsky reef, grades grades against the resource size. And you can see we are there amongst huge operations. The likes of the Odendaal operation, Modikwa, those are big operations. And in terms of size, we rank there amongst them. I think what distinguishes us from some of these operations as well is our grade. We're sitting there absolutely in the sweet spot. And what we reflect here is 4E grade of 7.5 grams per ton. Of course, if we look at our 7Es, that grade goes up to 9 grams a ton. Down here on the right-hand side, just to show our metals distribution within those reefs, you can see the UG2 more or less 1-to-1 on the platinum to the palladium ratio, high rhodium content, and the rest of the metals, of course, 18% is made up by ruthenium, osmium, and iridium. A Marinsky reef, a slightly different split, and very high in palladium, in platinum again, but still significant in palladium. Our initial scoping study has shown that we will focus initially on the UG2, but eventually we'll phase in the Marinsky reef. We're starting to see that the likes of Modikwa, Two Rivers, and Odendaal have now started to mine the Marinsky reef, also very successfully in that area. In terms of a project, we mainly focused when we started a year ago on this eastern portion, which is 500 meters and shallower, and that basically means that we focused from sort of the middle of this one farm area to the east, did some initial wide-space drilling, found exactly what we expected, and we're now doing some infill drilling in between. And you can see what we have here. The grey is basically our inferred resource, and the green our indicated. And the plan is now to extend that indicated to the south. And we very well far advanced to get that into indicated fairly soon. Indicated at the moment account for 20% of a total resource of 25 million ounces, or 22% of our UG2 resource. This just shows our achievements. We started early in 2021 to go through our community meetings and informed the community, traditional councils, royal family about what we plan to do, and raised the money in June 22. And it was almost the same time, a year ago in August 22, that we started our drilling and announced our first interim resource update, which increased by 34% from an initial 4E PGMs of 18.8 million ounces to a total of 7E 25 million ounces. So we're very close to submitting our mining right application, and that we'll have ready by end of September, early October. And then we move into our final stages of development and final investment decision, which will happen next year and early in 2025. Our second interim resource update, and there we will update the market on the indicators, followed by a scoping study, will be done by the end of the year, early January. And then we move in the pre-feasibility stage, of course, concurrently running with a scoping study, and that will be announced in the second quarter, early in the second quarter, and then from there we'll move into the final investment decision. The story of platinum and where do we stand with platinum. Of course, I think if we look at the platinum industry and in general stock prices, in our case, very similar to most of the other platinum producers, followed that basket price down through the past couple of months. And whereas we were sitting at basket price, and that basket price is for Merensky and UG2, in the order of $3,000 an ounce, it came down to around about $1,400 an ounce. Now, if we look at the industry and where the industry currently sits, of course, they're all sharing all-in sustainable cost of in the order of about $1,000 an ounce. And you can see there's not much margin left. And that $1,000 an ounce, of course, is the average for the market in general, or the industry in general. So you can imagine there is some companies, in particular the deeper ones on the Western Limb, that is starting to take some pain. So I think in terms of the PGM prices per se, it's always difficult to call a bottom or a top, because prices always overreact on either side. But I think we're close to that. But longer term, that is what we are interested in, is still absolutely intact. The bulk of the PGMs are currently going into autocatalyst industry. It's still the mainstay of our industry, but we're slowly starting to see motor manufacturers moving away from that. But for us, there is still the green, the hydrogen economy, and in particular, the production of green hydrogen. And of course, downstream fuel cell application. On the motor car industry in particular, ICE engine, internal combustion engine, yes, it is in the process of being phased out, but it's still going to be with us for quite a long time. And battery electric vehicles will find its place in the market, but what we foresee is still a good growth for PGMs in motor vehicle industry. Battery electric vehicles is taking its place in the vehicle industry, but there's also hybrid vehicles that we're seeing more and more on the road, and of course long distance transport. That's where platinum will find its way. As far as the supply side goes, certainly all the low-hanging fruit is gone, and that's where we're sitting in an ideal situation. We're shallow. We will certainly come in at quite a competitive cost when we start with production, and I think overall still good supply-demand balance going forward. As far as the community goes, we engage on various aspects in the community. We've got a very good relationship with the community. It's a community with a good structure, and from royal family to the traditional council, and we've got good communication to and from through the traditional council to the community. Finally, this graph I think tells a story, and I'm going to leave you with that to judge on the value, but it basically shows the enterprise value against the resource and the grade, and we're sitting there right at the top left, a high PGM grade, relatively inexpensive, and I'll leave you with that on that graph. So in conclusion, finally, we're sitting amongst the world's biggest producers. We're in the right address. We've got a good resource in terms of size, 25 million ounces. We've got an excellent management, both at SPD level and also at the subsidiary level. And where we are now and what we've seen we can deliver, I've got no doubt that we'll be able to deliver this project in time. Thank you very much, Faraya.